Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short, well, it's not really a little unboxing, there's two huge knives in these boxes, but it is an unboxing. Two knives that actually I think are available right now. I'll link the appropriate links down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's up to you. Thanks to Tools for Gents for sending these in so I can share them with you guys. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. We have two more from PMP. So if you're not familiar with PMP, which you probably are, especially if you watch my channel, they like to make big stuff. That's an understatement. They like to make cartoonishly huge knives, which just happens to be one of my favorite. I've been obsessing over these big overbuilt knives for the entirety of my channel's existence, but truthfully, if you want to know the story, the origin story of why I obsess over big, crazy, silly knives, it's mainly because of Jim Skelton. And I know a lot of you are, probably the same way. So we have the Smilodon in titanium and the Smilodon in G10. So these are going to be big. Funny enough, it's nowhere near the biggest knives that they make. So I unboxed the prototype Smilodon a while back, and I've been waiting. The reason it doesn't have a review is because I knew that the production version was coming. Ooh, right off the bat. Okay, so this, oh, holy crap. You know what? This feels superior to the prototype. Vastly superior. Wow, heavy detent there too. Polish on the blade, the detent strength, the overall solidity of it. Yeah. Ooh, is this a natural G10 backspacer? No way that glows. We got to check though. Looks like a natural G10 backspacer, but I very much doubt that it glows. No, but it is very, very cool for sure. We have, looks like T8 hardware throughout at least. Yeah, T8 steel liner lock. So I know that these are expensive for sure. This is a huge chunk of 14C28N. I remember talking about this on a retailer walkthrough because the G10 one was significantly lower in price than the titanium one. And, while it is substantially higher than the, like budget knives that are made from similar materials, we have to remember that there's at least 2.5 budget knives worth of material in this one knife. But yeah, this compared to the prototype, I mean, this feels like an absolutely complete product. Very cool. That's nice because I remember the prototype, I was like, ugh. But okay, so there's that one. Let's open up this one, the titanium version. Oh, jeez. Oh, they did a full titanium backspacer on this guy. Big titanium backspacer, milled clip. Pretty nice. Yeah, for a second there, I thought the titanium was kind of lightly polished. No, it is contoured though. That's not just a chamfer. I believe that's fully written. It's really hard to tell because they've got texture on top of that. This area right here feels like it's rounded, right? You can kind of see how the texture kind of widens out or sort of tapers. It's really hard for me to tell there. But really nice in any case. Titanium backspacer, titanium pocket clip. Big old crazy pivot collar. We don't have that present on this guy. And like I said, the pocket clip is different. This is a stamped steel clip. This is going to be a titanium clip. Both have glass breakers. Little... I don't know why I did that. Does this make you guys feel weird? I feel like it's making me feel super weird doing it. But I have to imagine that was a weird thing to watch without any warning. So anyways, this it's a real nice satin finish on it though too. Super sharp lock bar area here. This needed to be different. We have a chamfer on the outside. We should have left material and chamfered it on the inside. It would have looked a little weird, probably, but it would have been much more comfortable to disengage. Now, far from impossible, but that's the first thing I noticed. No double clutch or anything like that. Heavy detent, but you can reverse flick it. Can I get under that second fuller? Oh, easily. It's way easier. So you can use this to pinch open it. If you're going to reverse flick it, I would get your finger under there, right? Easy, much easier. Flipping action, great. Big old thick chunk of steel, which we'll measure here in a second. What's the steel? This was the part when I saw it on the retail site, I thought maybe that's a typo. 14C28N. This is an expensive knife. I believe at least $250. Now, the G10 one is way less, but still over $100. This somewhat reasonable, right? I mean, if we're looking at, like, people will reduce this and they'll say, okay, steel liners in G10 and 14C28N, that should cost $65. It would if it were about half the length and, you know, a third of the thickness. Then you would have a normal, you know, here we go. No, what's a really good example? Here's a $55 knife that is 14C28N and G10. This is a much, much smaller object than this. I mean, this is a huge object, right? So now, something like this is going to be far less convenient. It's like I always say, you know, these big, crazy, overbuilt knives are basically just, you're not really adding anything in terms of utility. You're just taking away in terms of convenience. And the trade-off is big knife cool, which is fine because tons of us like that. PMP knows it. Their fans know it. Everybody's happy. Nobody's being deceived. It's just fun, right? The titanium one is super confusing because it's, like I said, it's at least $250. So it's a 14C28N blade, which is a great blade steel, under $100. It's an awesome balance. Very, very good for a budget knife. Once we get up into the $250 territory, there's a lot of stuff that people don't want to see, and then you have a whole different tier of blade steels that we find appropriate. Never mind which blade steel is the most appropriate for a super thick blade geometry. A lot of times it's just about getting, you know, the materials that we expect to see at that price point. For me personally, 14C28N is not a steel I want to see at $250. Give me a sword made out of 14C28N and maybe I'll pay $250 for it, but not so much here. The fit and finish on it is great though. You just have to really want titanium. Why not S35VN? Or, I mean, at least, like, you know, I say at least. To my knowledge, 154CM is a composition that is still more expensive than 14C28N to just buy stock, right? S35VN, definitely, but it would have made more sense. Definitely. It's just my opinion. You can think whatever you want. Let's measure the blade stock here. We got to do that. That's approaching a 1/4 inch. That's a big blade. It's funny, you know, it used to be, because the Praetorian tie made the 1/4 inch blade stock famous, right? Because the Praetorian tie, you know, a few years ago was like incomprehensibly thick. Now it's 236 thousandths, so approaching a 1/4 inch. Now a 1/4 inch is like, yep. What else you got? Now it's like, you know, a third of an inch is, that's where we start to call it thick. But make no mistake though, these are definitely thick. Factory edge feels pretty good though. It's pretty sticky, honestly. Both of these blades look to be finished exactly the same way. We're just cutting paper here. This doesn't really prove anything. Factory edge is actually super ready to bite into material. You can feel, you know, it's definitely thicker. It's not, I mean, it's not slicing like an open or anything, but it's definitely got a nice factory edge on it. It is definitely sharp. Big old crazy dinosaur looking Titanic thing. If you like big knives and you want to carry them, maybe you've looked at the Alpha Beast or even the Ultimate Alpha Beast and thought, that's cool, but I'm not putting that in my pocket. This is still there where it's like, you know, it's big and it's, unless you're like exclusively carrying monster knives, you could adapt to it. Be a lot harder to adapt to the Alpha Beast, or especially the Ultimate Alpha Beast if you watch that unboxing. If you haven't, go watch that. That's mind-blowing. But pretty cool. Don't love the price on this. This feels more reasonable. Really happy to see that the quality, the overall, you know, quality of execution is night and day. This versus the prototype, which, you know, different prototypes sometimes have different. Like some prototypes I've handled feel like garbage, and then I'm like, oh, I'll wait for the production version, you know. In this case, the prototype of this was like, ugh, kind of I'd letter grade it a D. Overall quality of this, I'd give it an A for sure. Like the actual, the quality of it is there in terms of like fit and finish and just how finished the product is, how smooth, how everything feels, right? Interacting, the lock disengagement, the pivot action, the lockout, all of that, edges, seating of the hardware. Yeah, night and day, really good. You'll get a full review on each of these. I'll probably do them at the same time. I probably won't do two separate videos, but cool stuff. Both of these are available at Tools for Gents. I'll put the appropriate links in the description. You guys can check it out. That's going to be it for today until the full review, which will be a couple weeks, 3 weeks from now. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on the Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.